It's always heartbreaking to hear about young talents whose lives ended too soon. We all remember Heather O'Rourke, the angel-faced girl from Poltergeist, whose haunting line, "Going out for here," still echoes through movie history. Then there was River Phoenix, the brilliant soul who seemed to hold an entire generation's heart before his light dimmed far too soon. Cameron Boyce, whose incredible energy on the Disney Channel inspired millions, and Judith Barsi, whose sweet voice continues to ring in the films we grew up loving. Tragically, these stars are only a handful from a longer list of child actors whose stories ended far too young. This is the story of famous child actors who tragically died young. Heather O'Rourke's presence on screen was almost otherworldly. From her first moment in Poltergeist, she captured audiences with luminous innocence, Hollywood's perfect picture of childhood wonder. But behind the screen, a misdiagnosed illness was silently threatening her life. In February 1988, Heather went into cardiac arrest and doctors discovered she had an intestinal blockage caused by a congenital defect. Despite rush surgery, it was too late. She passed away from septic shock at just 12 years old. It felt impossible. How could someone so full of light be gone overnight? Her legacy lingers in that one line, "She was here." Remember Judith Barsi, the bright-eyed voice of Ducky in The Land Before Time, a child whose laughter felt eternal. But Judith's story is one of the most tragic Hollywood has ever known. Behind the smiles and success was a dangerous home she couldn't escape. At just 10 years old, in 1988, Judith and her mother were killed in a horrifying act of domestic violence, murdered by her father before he took his own life. Her beloved line, "Yep, nope," became a bittersweet echo of the joy she left behind. Her life reminds us that fame can't always shield a child from tragedy.
Goodbye, Charlie. I love you.
Yeah. I love you too.
Then there was River Phoenix, the face of the 1990s generation. From Stand By Me to My Own Private Idaho, his raw honesty on screen felt decades beyond his age. Critics saw in him the next great actor of his time. But River's meteoric rise brought chaos, the demands, the pressure, the endless spotlight. On Halloween night 1993, he collapsed outside the Viper Room after an accidental drug overdose involving cocaine and heroin. He was only 23. The sidewalk where he fell has since become a quiet shrine, where fans still leave flowers for the boy who never really grew up. For some stars, it wasn't the darkness of fame, but the weight of growing up too fast. Haim was Hollywood's golden boy, charming, mischievous, and full of spark in The Lost Boys. But his fame came with a heavy price. Drugs, broken promises, and betrayal haunted him for years. In 2010, Corey died from pneumonia, worsened by complications from his long struggle with addiction. He was just 38. The boy who had once owned the screen was finally free of its shadows. Dana Plato, the beloved Kimberly from Different Strokes, was another child star surrounded by light, but followed by heartbreak. Viewers watched her grow up every week, yet Hollywood had little space for her once the laughter stopped. Financial struggles and personal battles defined her later years. In 1999, at just 34, Dana's life ended when she died of an overdose of painkillers, ruled a suicide. Her story, and later her co-star Gary Coleman's, became a mirror reflecting the price of growing up famous before you even understood what fame meant. Gary Coleman lived with a lifelong kidney condition that stunted his growth, but he never let it dull his wit. Behind his signature line was a man who battled health issues and public struggles for years. In 2010, he suffered a brain hemorrhage after a fall at his home in Utah. At 42, the world lost one of TV's most recognizable child stars. And yet, his voice still lives on in every nostalgic laugh from those who grew up with him. Brittany Murphy, her wide-eyed charm and clueless made her unforgettable. She began acting when she was barely a teenager, bursting with energy and emotion. But in December 2009, headlines stunned the world. Brittany had died suddenly in her Los Angeles home. The cause was listed as pneumonia combined with severe anemia and drug toxicity from prescription medication. Fans were left grappling with grief and questions that never fully faded. Her childlike playfulness on screen now feels like a time capsule, forever young, forever missed. Behind the laughter, the hurt is often invisible. Anton Yelchin was no longer a child actor when he died, but his career began in childhood and his youthful passion never faded. Audiences adored him as Chekhov in Star Trek, brilliant, kind, endlessly curious. In June 2016, tragedy struck when Anton was accidentally pinned by his own car in the driveway of his Los Angeles home after it rolled backward. He was only 27. Colleagues called him one of the most gifted actors of his generation, gone in an instant, yet remembered forever through his tenderness on film. And Cameron Boyce, Disney's golden heart, from Jessie to Descendants, his smile lit up millions of childhoods. But in 2019, tragedy hit once more when Cameron passed away in his sleep after a seizure caused by epilepsy. He was just 20. Cameron's death not only broke hearts but also sparked real awareness about epilepsy, inspiring his family to continue his mission of spreading kindness. He proved that even short lives can leave lasting footprints. Some stories of child stars lie further back in Hollywood's memory, but they still haunt us. Brad Renfro burst onto the scene at only 11 years old in The Client. His performance was raw, authentic, and unforgettable. Critics saw in him a talent years beyond his age. Over the next decade, Brad starred in films like Sleepers and Apt Pupil, proving his early success was no accident. But fame came too soon and too strong. Still just a teenager, Brad struggled with addiction and a growing sense of isolation from the industry that had once celebrated him. Behind the press headlines was a young man trying to hold on to himself as the world watched him fall. In 2008, he was found dead in his Los Angeles apartment from a heroin overdose at 25. Friends said he'd been planning a comeback, his death a tragic reminder of how unforgiving the spotlight can be. To the boy who made audiences feel so deeply, his performances remain his message: honest, vulnerable, and painfully human. Bobby Driscoll, the voice behind Disney's Peter Pan, was once the very symbol of childhood innocence. He began acting at 5 and was quickly recognized as one of Walt Disney's brightest young stars. His warm voice and expressive eyes brought The Song of the South, Treasure Island, and finally, Peter Pan to life. For a brief moment, Bobby was Hollywood's golden child, but the industry that built him also turned away when he grew older. Childlike charm no longer sold tickets, and roles disappeared. By his teens, he'd been dropped by Disney, his looks changing, his confidence shaken, his childhood fame fading. He drifted through small parts in experimental art circles, searching for meaning beyond the cameras. Alone in New York City, struggling with addiction and poverty, Bobby's spark dimmed quietly. In 1968, he was found dead in an abandoned building, his identity unknown until years later when fingerprints linked him to the lost boy from Disney's past. He was just 31. The boy who never wanted to grow up became the man Hollywood forgot, gone before most realized he was missing. Yet his laughter, his voice, and his portrayal of eternal youth remain part of film history, a bittersweet legacy from a time when dreams seemed endless. Their stories remind us that behind every performance, there's a person, a life, and a lesson about how fragile brilliance can be. Sadly, after seeing all these stories, it's clear that drug addiction is one of the most common ways this stars die too soon. I only wish there was a way to combat all the stress that comes with fame at a young age. Maybe someone would have stepped up and helped them cope with all the pressure that it comes with. If this was possible, maybe we would still have them grace our screens with their great performances. Thank you for joining me on this heartfelt journey. If these stories touched your heart, consider subscribing to my channel. Until next time, keep their lights alive.